Welcome to the latest episode of KapVista Klips. Today we're here with Michael from AmbientSkye. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Great to be chatting. Where are you based at the moment?
I'm in New York City, just overlooking the Hudson River in New Jersey on the other side.
Nice, nice. And we were just mentioning that the vibe is different because the Knicks are going to win. Knicks
That's a
they,
better one.
yeah, they better win. I'm rooting for them as a lifelong Lakers fan. I'm going for the Knicks.
We appreciate it.
I might edit that out, later in the recording, so nobody can hear that. Awesome, awesome. So I want to get straight into it. I want to understand who you are, your experience, your background, and what got you to this point. So I'll pass it over to you. Tell me about you. Tell me about your history, your background, your experience.
So I'm a trained engineer, although whatever I build, you don't want to use because I've never used my engineering training in work. And then I have an MBA, and so my career has been business, and it's been entirely, I would say, almost entirely in media. So I started working for the major networks in the United States. I worked at CBS and NBC, and then I went into my own company. So pretty soon after I left corporate America, I started my own company. It was a media buying company, and then another media buying company, and then for a brief period of time, I ran Club Med North America, which is interesting because it allowed me to see what clients experience in terms of communicating with their markets and doing marketing and doing media and all that. And then I went back into the media buying business with Club Med actually as my first client, and started yet another media buying company, then a media tech company doing first advertising tracking on the web, and then went into yet another firm that did a media technology called addressable television, where we were able to send individual spots to individual households, turning television from one to many into one to one. Built that into a multi-billion-dollar industry, and that company was sold to AT&T. So all those startups were successful exits. And then middle of last year, after my company was acquired by AT&T, I was approached by Sky Drynan, who I'd known for about 10 years, a really extraordinary lady. She worked in finance for many years. She actually was an equity buyer of pharmaceutical stocks, tens of billions of dollars for a company called Capital Group. So she knew that space really, really well. And she had this vision that they were not really communicating with their constituency, whether it's patients or it's the healthcare industry, healthcare providers, that could be done better, and AI would be a useful tool to you to doing that. So I coincidentally, and sometimes these things are just serendipity. The person who ran the product side of my last company, the company that did addressable television, brilliant engineer, went to Princeton and really put his engineering to work. Howard Fitterer, was available because he was actually doing his own thing, building his own software business, and so we approached him and said, "We've got this opportunity. We can go to pharmas. We can use AI to do some really good competitive intelligence, to turn that into communication strategies, and really do something for them that they're not doing particularly well themselves." And so he liked the idea, joined us. So it was the three of us as co-founders. He brought in some very, very talented engineers to build out the product. And so here we are. That's the beginning of AmbientSkye.
Awesome, awesome. So tell me about AmbientSkye. Like, if I put my customer hat on, why would we use you? Walk us through it.
Great. So there are a couple of reasons. One, and they're not exactly related, but they do come together. So number one is what is happening with AI. So right now, AI is sort of in the water. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's trying to figure out how to best use it. And it doesn't matter if you're a small company, mid-sized company, large company. You've got a pretty big case of FOMO if you're the head of that firm, because you're afraid that you're missing out on something. You're not quite sure what it is. You're not quite sure you're doing it right. You're
Mm.
not sure if your competition is doing it better than you are. So that is one aspect of it, which is that AI, like it or not, is going to be part of our world. It's already there. It's growing rapidly. So we have to pay attention to how to use it best. So that's number one. Number two, specifically in terms of pharmas, there is something in the United States called media literacy or medical literacy, and that is how knowledgeable individuals are in terms of their own uh, needs as it relates to their health, where to get health care, what are the best sources of information for medication, how compliant they are for whatever diseases they have or medication uses they have. All of that is actually in a very bad place in America. The degree of medical illiteracy in America is something like 88%, which is staggering. Most people don't know what is good for them. And this is a very, very costly situation for the country and also for the individual pharmaceutical companies because they're not able to communicate with either their patients or their healthcare providers in an optimal way. The paradoxical element here is that the number one spending category in America in advertising is pharmas. They spend more in advertising than any other category, more than automotive, more than financial, more than packaged goods. They are the number one spending category, and yet the results are awful. So you have these two things. You have for AI, you've got inadequacy on the part of companies about how to best use it, and you've got medical illiteracy in terms of the communication strategies are not obviously not working. So we see that as a major opportunity. So what we have done is we have used AI as a platform. So when you're looking at us, we're not an AI company. We're a company that uses AI in order to achieve what it is that we want to do, which is to put the right information into the hands of individuals that actually need it and can use it, whether those are the patients or whether they are the healthcare providers. So that's what we do. We use AI as a tool, a platform, a conduit, a way to get the right information into the hands of the individuals that actually need it.
Okay. And what sort of tractions, what sort of milestones have you achieved?
So the one of our superpowers, and I would say when I say our, I mean Sky superpowers, is because she invested literally tens of billions with a B, billions of dollars in the pharmaceutical space. As you might imagine, she's well known in that space, and she's well known at a high level. So the CEOs and the CMOs of those companies are people that know Sky very well from her 20 plus years in that business. And so the number one challenge that one has in any business is to be able to access one's clients. We have that. Sky can literally pick up the phone and talk to the CEO of this company, the CMO of that company. So, and have not just casual conversations, but these are important conversations, and they're real conversations in the sense that these aren't courtesy calls. These are conversations where Sky gets to hear what their pain points are.
Mhm.
And so we've got several companies that are at various stages of bringing us in at a pilot test level. So a company called Neurocrine, which is based out in Southern California, is using us very much in that way in in a particular product that they have that they would like some assistance in terms of getting to the right patient. So they're using us there in a pilot program. There are two others that by NDA I can't tell you who they are, but they're household names, exactly using us in the same way. The exploratory conversations are all along the lines of how is it that we can best use this platform to get the message to the right individuals. So that's the on the pharma side, that is the traction that we've been getting. And then separately, and this is going to sound unrelated, and it is unrelated, but it's over the last 10 years or so, I've had the great privilege of being an advisor a very small unit within the Pentagon, which is sort of an in-house consulting unit. And they bring me in to discuss various subjects as they come up. And so in one of those conversations, it occurred to me that our strong suit, our ability to do competitive intelligence, actually relates to what they do. Clearly not in pharmaceuticals, but in a very different scenario, which is looking at the world and looking at other countries as competitors of ours. Much the same way that a pharmaceutical company has competitors, so does every country have competitors. Well, we can do the same kind of AI-based analysis of what the competition is and then what the optimal strategies are in terms of dealing with that competition. So we are now being considered for to do for them what we do for the pharma companies obviously in a very different way. The language is different, the tools are different, but the strategy, the methodology, what we bring to the table, the ability to do competitive intelligence, the ability to isolate strategies and to compare strategies, that's very much the same. So, what it highlights is that our technology, our approach, is not just simply applicable to one vertical like a pharma. We built this with the ability to what we call land and expand. So we land in pharmaceutical, we build that out, and then we'll go to another vertical, which might be financial, might be automotive, might be packaged goods, but all of the same technology applies.
So, what's the next sort of vertical that is the lowest hanging fruit that you see?
So it's probably going to be either financial or automotive. Now, in financials, what's interesting is that we do an incredibly granular competitive analysis. So competitive analyses that they don't get with the technologies that they, by they I mean financial companies, that could be equity buying, equity analysts that are looking to buy stocks. They could be investment bankers looking to identify companies to buy or sell or merge. So the kind of competitive analysis that we do is really granular. So we ingest data, first party data, third party data. We ingest it and manipulate it in a way that produces reports, and then beyond that, analyzes those reports from different points of view, from a positive point of view, a skeptical point of view, a competitive point of view, all of these that basically analyze that strategy and give that financial company, as in this example, give that person, whether it's an investment banker or an equity analyst, information that they can then use to inform their decisions. So we believe that same mechanism, that same toolkit that we have, that we've developed, is actually applicable across the board. So once we go beyond financial, could be automotive, a very clear ability to do competitive analysis and then evaluate competitive strategies. Now, the last bit that we do is we close the loop. We do what we call bidirectional information, which is once we implement a strategy for our clients, then we go out into the field, into the marketplace, and we figure out what's actually happening in that world, in that marketplace that we can now observe. We can observe real results, and those results are measurable. They're tangible. They are quantifiable. So we can go back and say, okay, we proposed strategy A, and here are the results of strategy A. This part worked, this part didn't work. What can we do differently and better so that the next time that we implement this, it can be optimized, so that it becomes a virtuous cycle where that strategy becomes as good as it can be because we actually fine tune it and adjust it according to what's happening in the marketplace.
Okay. And then you're obviously raising capital. So, how much you're raising and what's the use of funds for?
So we are in a business that consumes people or uses people.
Yeah.
So is that proper grammar? People are our inventory. So we're raising a $3 million seed round, which is a safe, and it's the terms are very simple. It's a 20% discount off of the first price round, and the first price round we anticipate will be a $10 million price round. So, and the literally 95% of the use of that capital is individuals. So we want to hire the best engineers, the best UI experts, the best business development individuals. So we want to have the best people that we can find, starting from a very, very strong base. The folks that we've got working with us right now are just terrific, and we've got experience, deep experience with each of those working in the business environment. Very pleased with the products that they've built. So we want to continue along that, and and just build out, as I said earlier, beyond one vertical. Once we get into more verticals, then we're going to client success individuals. So they're going to be working with those companies to make sure that what we provide them is going to be the best product ever. So the money is for individuals, for people.
Okay, and that's what the focus is over the next 12 to 18 months, scaling. So what does that look like? Let's say the capital is raised tomorrow. What does the next 12 to 18 months look like in terms of the business traction, revenue, that sort of thing?
So we expect over the next 12 months to bring in three or four pharmas of significant size. We also anticipate that we will do something with the Pentagon. So we'll have those two working in parallel. And once we have a pilot up and running, then based upon what we feel our platform can do, that will turn into an ongoing engagement. And so once we build on that, and let me revert back to what I mentioned earlier that all the companies that I've built previously, the model for those companies is to set up one or two use case examples that are very widely known, publicize that to the world, basically say, see what we can do. And then business is a very Me Too kind of world. Other companies are going to say, I like that. Let me talk to these guys,
Yeah.
and hopefully we'll get them as clients. So three, four, five of those companies within the next year, and then expand well beyond that. And then the Pentagon, if we are fortunate enough to get that, I don't know where that'll take us, but quite frankly, we'll be so happy if we get that'll be um, that'll be a win by itself.
And what does that look like in terms of revenue?
So first year, realistically, we're looking at something in the order of 20 million, and then we'll double that in the second year, and then after that, growing beyond that. But it's they're fairly the good news in this business is that um, we're talking to an industry that has money to spend. They
Yeah.
are this is a wealthy uh, industry
Yep.
that puts money to use, whether it's in research or it's in marketing or it's in distribution or whatever it is. They are companies that invest in their businesses, and uh, th- so we believe that we're well positioned in them looking at us as a tool that is worth their investment, so that they can expand their business opportunities, which is really what we're all about.
Amazing. Amazing. I'm not going to take too much more of your time, but this has been a great conversation. I feel that you are targeting a space that has very deep pockets, and they spend well. And it's probably one of the only countries I've been to where you see pharmaceutical ads on TV. I don't know if they have that impact thereafter. So having a tool that actually can get a better ROI is something that they would definitely want to invest into and to use. And then once you're in these industries, it is very sticky, and they keep going and they keep renewing. So from an investment standpoint, it looks really good for companies. Are really good for investors to invest into companies that are in sticky industries. And then, like you said, there's multiple verticals along there, um, which if you look targeting finance, again, very sticky industry. Yeah.
I like the word sticky because what that means is that you're not only providing a service that they want, but
Yep.
you're integrating yourself into their structure in such a way that it works for them and it works for us. We
Yep.
become integrated,
Yep.
and it's not sticky because they would like to get us out but can't. It's quite the opposite. It's they want to keep us in because of the results that we're producing.
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
the satisfying thing about building a company like this.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for jumping on. It's great to chat to you. If anybody who has watched this episode wants to find out more, please reach out to my team and we can connect you directly through to Michael to have a more in-depth conversation. But thank you very much for jumping on. It's great to chat.
Thanks for your time. It's been great.
Thank you.